Well, we're continuing with our exploration, or maybe let's say our cultivation of the far-reaching practice of joyous effort. We're not even to the far-reaching part, let me correct that, but let's just define this. That joyous effort is, in our practice, the taking delight in what is virtuous, taking delight in practicing virtue, taking delight in practice. And so we've been exploring the different aspects of that, and also the obstacles to it. We had talked about two principal kinds of laziness that get us into trouble with our aspiration, anyway, to have joyous effort in our practice. The first one is just basic old laziness, sloth and so forth. The second kind is the laziness of being completely caught up in the 8 worldly concerns, or our attachments to busyness. And then the third one I want to talk about today is the, quote, laziness of discouragement, distraction. The laziness of distraction is also a problem, but that goes higher up on the list. I'm talking about the third kind of laziness. At the very beginning of this talk, I used that Shantideva quote that says that there is, without joyous effort, there is no merit, just like there is no movement without wind. It's so true in every one of these as we look at these different kinds of laziness. And boy, this discouragement one is the place where you can see there is no movement. There's no merit. The discouraged state of mind is an afflicted mind. You know, that's kind of a radical thought. I mean, I spend so much time in that state of mind to think that it's just an affliction itself. It's like a key. Oh, that's discouragement. That is an affliction. It's not on the list of the 6 root ones, but it's a very critical one to be aware of. So this is, you know, and we put it in modern psychological terms, this is low self-esteem. This is putting ourselves down. This is, you know, getting depressed about the practice, getting depressed about our practice. The teachings talk about having discouragement about the basis, the path, and the result. There's 3 different ways to have discouragement, and I think it's useful to look at what these are. So the basis is the self. So that's where we go into, I can't do it. I am not smart enough. I don't have the resources. I don't have anything. You know, I'm no good. I can't do this. It's all about me. I can't do this. The discouragement about the path is blaming the path. The path is too hard. Our teacher pushes too hard. They expect too much from me. They're too complicated. What does the Buddha want from me? That kind of, you know, the path is just too much. The discipline is too hard. All of those kinds of things. That's that kind of discouragement. And then the discouragement of the result is the mind that's going, Buddhahood, where is that? That's somewhere in the sky. That is so far away. It's like beyond, beyond, beyond. And is it even possible? Who knows? And if it is possible, is it possible for me? And now we're back at number 1. The problem with the basis. So there's all these different ways that we can let discouragement catch us up. And all of these are false. Every one of them is false. But I think, I mean, what I've learned in my own looking at discouragement is that it is really a habit of mind. In a way, discouragement is where I go to soothe myself when I'm up against something that's difficult. And then there's the mind that wants to go, oh, honey, take a break, have some chocolate, go read a book. You know, you're working so hard, you poor thing, you really can't do it so well. Let me give you some empathy. You know, and that is not really the antidote to that kind of mind. Venerable Children gave a talk on this many years ago, and she was just analyzing some of the things that I thought were interesting about why we have this so much, especially in the West. And she talked about our competitive society and how we, you know, from the times we're teeny weeny weeny, it's like, who's the best in class? Who got the most stars in kindergarten? Whose picture got to go up on the front of the blackboard? You know, who got the best? Who's the best? Who got the highest grade? Who got this competitive thing that we're given from, like, even with our siblings. You know, which kid brushed their teeth the most? We got little gold stars if we brushed our teeth. Well, I like getting those gold stars. This kind of competitiveness makes us compare ourselves with each other, and in a place where there's only one winner, everybody else loses. So that's one aspect to look at in terms of a cultural habit. We can't blame the whole thing on society, but we can say these are part of our conditions that we can really question. And so if we have this basic low self-esteem that's built on our competitiveness, then our pride gets either overblown trying to overcome this, I'm better than blah, 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 or I'm so terrible, you know, and that protects us from ever having to do anything. So we're getting in this, as Zopa always says, these two ditches of being puffed up or being totally like pressed down, and neither one of them is accurate, and neither one of them helps our practice at all. So what are the attitudes to this mind? I was so interested to read His Holiness's comments on this. So he says it's very important to counteract this kind of laziness that is a sense of inferiority, because it's one of the more damaging for our practice. And he said we do this by reflecting on the fact that we have Buddha nature. And that's the first thing they say. So we have to spend some time, again, doing some prep work, some remedial work. What does they mean when they say we have Buddha nature? What do they mean when they say you cannot take it away from us? So basically in our system, when we talk about the Buddha nature, there's two different kinds. They talk about the kind that is the emptiness of our own mind, which cannot be removed. It is this absolute pure, I hate to say essence, pure of our minds, absence of essence in our minds. That means anything is possible. Anything. And our Buddhahood is the thing that is the most possible, really, that we have that potential, is always, 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 always there. Shantideva says even flies and mosquitoes and worms have it. Every being with consciousness has that potential. And that, Venerable Children says, should be the basis of our confidence. Nothing else. Not how good we are at anything, not how smart we are, not how good we cook, not how well we execute, you know, we can execute a snow shovel or whatever our thing is. The foundation is that we have our Buddha nature. And then the developable Buddha nature is that we have the qualities, the good qualities that we want to cultivate in seed form already. We have love, we have compassion, we have the seeds of generosity in our minds as a state of mind. All of these are there. And if we spend some time thinking about cause and effect, cause and effect, I wish to cultivate this mind. What are the causes for cultivating this mind? I enact these causes, and that's the basis of our self-confidence. Then this, I can't do it thing, we see is just plain not true. You may not be able to do it right now, but we can, step by step, thought by thought, day by day, we can build it if we have the aspiration, the steadfastness, the joy. We can cultivate that joy and also know when to rest, which we'll talk about later. Another antidote, if we have discouragement coming up, is to think about our precious human life and the freedoms and fortunes that we have right now. To really think deeply about our present situation, how fabulous it is to have a human body and mind that work. How fabulous it is to be in a situation where we have eaten today, we have clothes on our body, we have a place to go home to of some sort of shelter, it is heated, and on top of that we have teachers, we have teachings, and we have spiritual aspiration. Like so many places in the world this does not exist. So many people in the world don't have this. This can really lift our minds if we really, really meditate deeply on this. And then His Holiness has a great, great story where he says, I want to get this right. He said, discouragement destroys our joyous effort. Da, 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 da. Sometimes we want to develop a certain skill or help others, but our work does not turn out as we wished or expected. So we get discouraged about that. He said, this happens to me too. Really? His Holiness the Dalai Lama? It says, if I look at my effect on others, doubt and discouragement arise. But when I look at my motivation, my confidence returns. I begin with a desire, sincere desire to benefit, and then regardless of what others may say, my motivation is genuine, and knowing that gives me courage and inner strength. That is really a mind that is not judging by anybody's approval, not judging by any external measure of success or failure, but looking at the effort, saying this was my motivation, checking, was it pure, was it good, was I doing the best I could in the situation, was I working to benefit others, did I take a step? Success or fail is not, at least when we're looking at our path to Buddhahood, success or failure in a worldly sense is irrelevant. Was I cultivating my mind? I think that is a powerful, powerful, potent thing to hold in mind. And finally, he also shares in a different context something that I think is very important for us to think of in terms of this whole issue of joyous effort. He says, the Buddha's life exemplifies a very important principle. A certain amount of hardship is necessary in one's spiritual pursuit. He's been on this a lot the last few years. That furthermore, I think followers, there's some tendency among the followers of the Buddha to imagine, perhaps only in the back of their minds, that although the Buddha went through all those hardships to attain enlightenment, they aren't really necessary for me. Surely I can attain enlightenment without giving up life's comforts. This, I think, His Holiness says, is mistaken. And so knowing this too, going back again and again and again to what are we cultivating, what is the basis of our cultivation of joyous effort? It's our aspiration for Buddhahood. We know if we can keep in mind where we're going, what our path is, then, as Venerable Chödrön says to us all the time, be content to create the causes. We're not measuring on the outside, we're not looking for approval, we're not looking for grand success, we're not looking for fame. All of these are colored by the 8 worldly concerns. But knowing that we're wishing for liberation, enlightenment, and we need successive precious human rebirths in order to do that, then our joyous effort becomes joyful, and we do our best to keep our mind in that happy state. Therefore, there is a lot of merit created, and just like wind creates movement, then we go. So, next time we'll talk about the 4 qualities of joyous effort that I've been referring to frequently, but just to cover them.